All right. Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the pre-market show. Hope everyone's having an amazing morning. Hope you had a great day yesterday. Good morning, Norm. How you doing today?
Hey, good morning. I'm doing great, Carlos. Hope you are too.
Yeah. I'm doing good, doing good. So funny. So yesterday, I am, as you know, there's a lot of parents doing this homeschooling stuff, and we did all the work early yesterday. And around 11:30, after Mike's great presentation, by the way, yesterday, if you missed that, that recording is going to be up. I remember I forgot to upload the stuff on Google, so I was like, "Oh all right,
my
good morning, everyone.
God.
Welcome to the pre-market show. Hope everyone's having an amazing." Let's mute that there. So that was interesting there. Almost screwed my daughter's thing up there for a sec. All right, guys. So
That's never
again,
good.
yeah, that is never good. All right, guys. So hope you guys are doing well. Hope the schooling, if you guys are doing any of that stuff at home, hopefully that's going well. Hopefully your family is safe and doing okay. Let's focus today on the market. Norm, we had a very interesting day yesterday. Fill us in on what's happening this morning. What's the latest and greatest on the SPY?
Yeah, man. We really just continue to sell off right now. We are down about 0.8%. Um, just, I don't know, an hour or so ago, we were about flat. And then somebody hit the sell button, and the money printer has not kicked in yet. So we'll see what happens today. Yeah, we'll see what happens today. We've got a few things on the horizon. As far as data, we've got jobless claims that should be coming out any second. They may be out. I just haven't seen them cross yet. And then import price, Neil Kashkari, Fed Pres from Minneapolis, speaking again, and Rob Kaplan at Dallas, Fed President, but that's after the market closes. So Kashkari is at 1 o'clock Eastern. And that's what what we got going on today. Tomorrow we got a lot: retail sales, autos, all kinds of stuff. Sorry, I think I'm getting an Amber Alert. Yeah.
Mm,
Um, so that is what we got going on today. We'll see. We spoke a lot about this area between 280-ish, given a point or two on the SPY, and 293, once again, giving a point or two on the SPY either way. And we got right up to that level and sold back off down to the 280-ish, and that's where we sit. So let's see what happens.
yeah, it definitely has been a point of interest for the SPY for a very, very long time. Every time we get in that range, we talked about it before. Here's our weekly chart. You can see how it reacts. So again, somewhat we are still in this range. I mean, we haven't lost it. We haven't really broke out of it. If you look at our daily over the last couple of days, we're kind of right in this area right now. So we'll see what it does. We're kind of getting to the base of this support area for the SPY. And it's going to be interesting today if we're going to hold that or give some back. So let's see what happens
Yep.
there. All right, guys, let's get to it. Let's go over to our gappers list this morning. Obviously, a lot on the red with the SPY down on a little bit shy of 1% at the moment. But we do have some stuff in the green. Some of the ones that we have been seeing before pop up into this gappers list. So let's go through them now. I'm going to remove the stuff we have from yesterday and get into what we have this morning. So someone emailed me yesterday, how do we put these columns here so fast, right? And here's the way I am doing them. There's several ways to do them. Here's the way I do it. I basically click on it, I hit the space bar, hit enter, and then that creates the next column or the next row. Then from there, I just hit backspace enter, and then you just do that, and then you quickly can put a couple of rows in here pretty fast. I've seen people do it differently. Again, if that's something that helps you out, definitely that's the way I'm doing it. Let's look at APDN this morning, see what we got going on there. This one is up 82% right now. 1.9 million shares flow. This is a low flow stock sitting at 2.97. So I'm going to bring it down here, guys. This will be probably a low flow. It's going to be very active today. Had a couple of days where you had some big gap ups, but look at every time it gaps up, it seems to just give it all back. So again, it's gapping up in the pre-market at the open, does a little bit of a pop, and then just sells right back down, just slamming down to almost where it was before, a little bit shy of it, and consolidating. So again, today we got kind of the same activity. We are up nicely on it, but is this thing going to hold? That is the question. So we'll keep it on here, guys. We got some good pre-market action right now. Very low flow stock, again, sitting right under 3 million shares flow, so you want to be cautious with this one. Here's CODX, one that we have been yeah.
Two things on that real quick. They had earnings last night, but I think the bigger thing is they got an emergency use authorization out of the
Mm-hmm.
FDA on a COVID test they produce.
Okay, all right, so that's good. It's some good possible news on there for them today. Again, pre-market very active for these guys, so hopefully that type of catalyst can hopefully keep it going here this morning. So I get some good volume out of it. It has been flat for the most part for the last couple of days, so we'll definitely keep an eye on to see how that news is going to be play out this morning. We were just looking at CODX. This one had a big day yesterday. Let's see how that traded in the intraday. So going back here into yesterday's pre-market, yesterday open, didn't look like it was all that active right off the gates, right? It's kind of pretty flat with a little bit of volume. Then later, after 1 o'clock or so, it just started taking off nicely. Look at this beautiful uptrend. And then most of this, even more so in the after hours, it took off even more. I think the move was bigger in the after hours than it was in the actual trading day. So interesting what we have going on here, guys. Right now, they are up 12.4. Again, a lot of it is being done over the after hours, as you can see here. Let's see what that is going to do today. Good pre-market action right now. 1.2 million shares traded. This is also somewhat of a low flow, sitting at 15.8 when it comes to the float. So we're gonna put it next to AP the end this morning, but this one looking pretty good. And again, had a really big day yesterday. Norma, we know this has been in our gappers list quite a bit. What's the latest and greatest on this one?
I don't see anything specific to Codex. I'm not sure it's not on APDN sympathy move, since they also make tests. If somebody's seen something different, let me know. I haven't seen anything as of this morning though.
Gotcha. All right, we'll keep it on here. Let's see what happens out of with that stock this morning. Here's PSTI. As we can see, starting to get going. 138. It does have a interesting pre-market activity, to say the least. A lot of this volume sitting on this one candle here. So again, needs to get a little bit better. The daily is horrible, by the way. This is not a great daily at all. From what we're seeing right now. Again, also sitting on the low flow side at around 14.5 million shares flow. So I'm going to bring it down here. Looks like the low flow team has a lot to look at today. Pretty active this morning, but we'll see how that's going to get better. Again, pre-market action right now. Nothing like CODX or APDN where you're seeing a very clean, clear movement here. It's a nice trend going in the pre-market action, especially out of CODX right now, selling off pretty nicely. Let's look at RVLV this morning. They are up 10% as well. Again, another one that's sitting somewhat in the low flow team. Again, 15.6. So we'll throw it down here again. There's a lot of activity happening out of that one this morning as well. When you can see on here, the daily's is not as great over the last couple of days. Volume is very low here as well. Also trading below almost 3 million shares on their most active day. They only got about 3 million shares. So again, we'll take a look at it. Pre-market action is starting to get going, and it needs to get a little more range here. But overall, definitely up nicely today. We'll take a look at it to see how these low floats are going to be trading a little bit later.
They had earnings last night.
They did. Okay, excellent. So they're nice pop here, 10% on earnings. So we'll see how they're going to be reacting towards that news later on. All right, guys, let's look over our gapping down list today. So we have quite a bit on here. Let's start with the top 5. I see a lot on here in regards to our airlines are back, our cruise lines are back. Some of the ones that we've been watching closely: Bank of America, Grubhub is back, Uber is in here, mRNA. Again, just the whole cast that we've been watching over the last couple of months is in this pack today. So let's start with the top 5, and then we'll look at the airlines. We'll look at the cruise lines. We'll look at what Uber and Grub are doing today, and then we'll take a look at like the Teslas, the Babas, kind of the good old boys that we watch on a regular basis. So VTIQ this morning. VTIQ, let's see what we got going on. They had a big day yesterday, gave some of it back. Today they're gapping down 14.1. Again, their pre-market seems to be a little bit all over the place. Their activity yesterday was not all that bad, but again, it was tough to take a trade on this stock. Look at just the way it was trading. Again, just not a easy one to take a trade on. For the most part, their pre-market it seems a little bit active now. I'm not liking it too much, but it's worth taking a look at it and kind of checking into it later to see how that's going to get. Here's SDC. SDC this morning. This is Smile Direct. They have been active over the last couple of days, gapping up and selling back down for the most part. So here we got a gap up, sold back down. Yesterday another gap up, sold back down again. Today they're down 7.3 with a not a clean pre-market action. Norm, anything new on Smile Direct?
Yeah, STC had earnings last night. They missed their estimates. Revenues were essentially in line. This has got a very high short interest in it. I think a lot of this run up has been partially a little bit of a squeeze going on there. And then obviously a couple days ago before they had earnings, it sold off pretty hard after it got to 10. And now it's selling off this morning on the poor results. So
okay,
that's what's going on there.
All right, we'll take a look at it again. The pre-market action, guys, not looking all that great. Let's see how the action was yesterday. Again, nice big drop right off the open, a beautiful opening range breakup, although a little bit extended, but again, still a nice drop here, and then it kind of recovers back to the VWAP. So it has some pretty wild ranges throughout the intraday yesterday. So let's see what it does this morning. So we'll keep an eye on it. Next, we have a Ping, P-I-N-G. PING this morning. This one is pre-market starting to get going. Not all that a lot of volume right now, and also for the most part, the volume on the intraday seems pretty light too. Under 1 million shares traded for the most part on any given day for the last couple of weeks. So not looking all that great when it comes to that. This is why their daily chart looks a little bit choppy as well. You're not getting that great flow as we'd like to see on the daily chart connecting these candles. So that could be a little bit concerning. I'm not a fan of it. So I'm going to skip on this one, guys, unless you tell me there's something else that's happening here that might be worth watching this. What I do like on the daily, though, everything else that's not looking great, the volume here, the candles, you do have an area of support that we're barely holding on to right now in the pre-market. This is the only thing that I like about this stock. You had a couple of red days already that weren't able to hold any of these levels that we have here, and now you're down. If you lose this, that could be a good run towards the bottom. But aside from that, guys, I'm not seeing anything else that I like. We're gonna throw it down here actually as a possible.
They've got a secondary. On a secondary add-on secondary offering. Yeah.
You know what? Just because of that, they don't even make the possibles.
It looks like trash to me.
Yeah. They don't even make the possibles list with that type of catalyst. So we'll move on. Let's look at United, guys. United also taking a big hit yesterday. I mean, we are close to the lows of that first drop, right? Remember, the market started crashing here. We had that first initial drop that went all the way down, and a lot of stocks have not gone back to this area. Now we're starting to see where some stocks are now getting into this initial low that they had, going back into mid-March. So United is literally right on. I think their low was at 17. They're a couple of bucks above that, but given the massive picture here, you can see how they're taking a pretty nice hit all the way down here. Again, the SPY dragged a lot of stuff down with it yesterday, but you're gonna see stocks like this one that didn't really recover as well as the SPY did are really hurting. The cruise lines, the airlines, these guys are taking a bigger hit than most of the market is overall. If you look at the market's bounce, the market it's still holding, right? And yes, it had 2 red days, but if you look at the overall drop down here, you're still at a good area when it comes to the SPY. So these individual stocks taking a hit. Here's United, guys. Good pre-market action right now. 1 million shares traded. We'll definitely take a look at this one. But with that said,
so I'm just gonna hop in here real quick. There's been some airlines that have been canceling some routes. The government gave them the ability to be a little bit more flexible in what they cancel and changes and such. Didn't really get into the regulation change too much, but a lot of that is on this, and then a lot of these that we're going to start going through at this point don't have individual catalysts. They're on concern of some of the news coming out, Fauci talking about schools not opening, just general overall concern that things aren't going to open up as quickly as people thought maybe a week or two ago. So I'll just throw that.
No, that is definitely causing a lot of hurt in here. That was not a good report, right? People don't want to hear that. I'm ready for my kids to go back to school. Well, my daughter to go back to school for sure. All right, guys. So here's what we have. So we'll keep United on here, but let's look at the rest of the airlines since we're on this topic already. Let's take a look at JBL. JetBlue is the next one on this list. They don't trade all that well. Out of all these stocks, they seem to be the one that has the less volume, the not the nicest pre-market activity. So I'm going to skip on this one. Let's go over to Save this morning. We know they have been hurting. They were actually very close to their initial low from the drop a while ago, right? With the news of them not just having a really tough time. So here right now they're just shy below that as well. Okay, pre-market action right now. They could definitely use a little bit more volume, more pre-market activity, but worth taking a look at. So we'll look at Save here. The next one is Delta and American Airlines. Delta as well. Delta has a good pre-market action, good volume as United Airlines as well. So we'll throw it on here. Let's look at what we had on there. Love. And I think that's probably the last one on this list. Yeah, we'll look at Love. And also very similar to JBL right now, where we're not getting a lot of action in the pre-market. Now, Love has been way past their first initial low going back to March. So again, they have not been getting any love, as you can see here, already heading down to 22. So that could be interesting on there as well. But for the most part, in regards to activity and action, United Airlines, Save, and Delta definitely got it going this morning. All right, let's go back to our list. Now, next we have CCL, so that'll be a good segue right into our cruise lines. So CCL at the moment, again, we're sitting for some reason, CCO loves this level here at 11, right? So several times we have been back down to 11. We were able to hold this consolidation here. Nice big pop up right back down to 13, held there for a couple of days. And now that we're down, we're back at this 11 level that we held almost for 2 weeks straight right here, right? No matter what it did up and down, it held that level pretty nice. So interesting to see what is going to happen today on CCL. I definitely want to have it on my list. We have some pretty good activity out of it already this morning. We have some good volume, 1 million shares traded. Definitely want to keep an eye on this one. Following that is NCLH this morning. They usually follow a decent volume right under CCL. But today they have some pretty good volume as well, 918. Also, kind of getting closer to these areas where they have some previous lows. They were not able to hold that base that they had for that 2-week period, right? If you can see that on here, they had a base around 1125. They are below that, so that can also be interesting this morning as well. See how things develop in that area. And then the next one we have is usually RCL. Let's take a look at the RCL. Very similar situation as CCL. Again, during this week's 2-week span here, they were holding this 35 level. They're slightly below that, not by much. It's actually a little bit low. It's around 3340, 3304 or so. So it's slightly below that. So interesting as well. But again, I think CCL and NCLH usually have the best volume. We'll keep an eye on those two. All right, guys, so that covers a lot of our gappers list. Let's go in here and see some of our favorites that we like to watch. Then we'll go to Norm to see what you have on your end that you like this morning. MGM is one that's also very active. Let's take a look at that. MGM this morning, they have a good pre-market action, also dropping nicely here. 267,000 at the moment. Yeah, this is worth watching. I will keep that one on here. Let's take a look at, we did not look at American Airlines now that I think about it. So American Airlines also, again, very similar to Delta United. You cannot go wrong with this one neither. Now, this one is breaking new lows, guys, at least 52-week new low here, because they are below this area where that first drop here. So they are definitely taking a bit of a hit here, as many of these other airlines are. So let's go back over here, guys. What else do we have in this list that we like? I think that covers a lot of it, guys. I'm going to look at Uber and Grubhub. Let's see what's going on with these two giants here. So Uber at the moment, not doing all that much. It's kind of consolidating. I think these guys are just waiting to see what's going to happen with these conversations that they're having. Grubhub is popped up, had a big day when the news came out. Still kind of just holding here, trying to figure out what's the deal in that situation. Norm, has anything new come out of the Uber and Grubhub deal that was announced a couple of days ago? Possible deal.
They're just kind of in the flux of negotiating what kind of price Uber's willing to pay. I think Grubhub wanted 2.15 shares of Uber per share of Grubhub, and Uber said no. I think they're at Uber came back at 1.9 or 195, something like that. So it sounds like they're going to work something out. I don't know. I think Grubhub's going to be tied to that share price and kind of pegged. I think Uber's probably, if you're going to trade one or the other, Uber's probably the better one to be looking at just because of that. So see what happens. Uber did have a debt offering that came out to raise a little bit of capital here. So, yeah, it's just kind of in flux. At some point, some kind of announcement will be made on this. Who knows?
Yeah. With that said, guys, we have our Squawk Audio that's available to the members in the community. So if you are a member already, you can hit on that Squawk Audio and have that running in your background. Any news alerts that come out, they're very, very timely. You also have the text as well, but the audio is a lot better because, one, you don't have to have a screen up taking up real estate, and also it is extremely timely. The text one is good for when you want to see what a stock's news is or catalyst. You can type in the ticker and kind of get the header of what's happening there. All right, we have a list.
So I want to... Yep. Carlos, let me hop in here. I'm
Sure.
gonna throw a couple of things out for you in just a second. But somebody in the chat, Jaguar's asking, why is Grubhub price so much higher compared to Uber? And it brings up a good point. We mention this every time to time. The actual price of a share of stock means absolutely nothing. Nothing. Grubhub, if you have to take the price of a share and the total number of shares, multiply those, you get a market cap. That's what the market values the company at. It's more complex than that, but that's a simple way to think about it. If you do that, Grubhub's valuation is $5.3 billion and Uber's is $53.8 billion. So let's say Uber's has about 10 times more shares outstanding. Grubhub has 92 two-ish. Uber has 1.6 billion. So if you did that and you figured out you'd essentially Grubhub share, if they had the same number of shares out, Grubhub would be worth about $6 and Uber would be about 32. So the share price of something means absolutely nothing.
Yeah, yep, agreed, 100%. All right, guys. So yeah, good information, Norm. Because again, when you're starting out, guys, this is what we're here for. You know, this information that you don't know. So being part of a community is to get these answers and make sense out of things that you know you might not be aware before. So, Norm, what do you like this morning? So far, we have a interesting list.
Yeah, I'm going to throw out two here just because I think they'll actually be in play. They don't look all that exciting right now. One is Cisco CSCO. They had earnings. They were actually in pretty decent shape. This is a work from home play. They do teleconference equipment and such. So that could be one. The other is Wix, WIX. I believe they reported earnings as well. The only thing that holds me back from Wix a little bit is that it's an Israeli company. And we don't often trade foreign stocks just because of exchange rates and everything else make them a little bit hard to read at times. But that having been said, Wix.com, create your own website, businesses trying to transition to a more digital kind of universe with COVID going on could be an interesting play. So I will keep my eye on those. And frankly, I'm not seeing a whole lot that I like on this list today.
Yeah. Wix is interesting, man. I had a couple of great days too on here, so that's nice to see.
Yeah.
On Wix. There's a lot on here. Again, we got the usual stuff, guys. CCL, the airlines, and you can always get momentum plays out of those. But if you're looking at just catalyst driven, yes, there's not a lot on here this morning. That looks great, that's for sure. Let's take a look at what you guys have this morning. Let's start with our chat room. So Wix is on the list right now. So yeah, it's a little bit spready now. Again, we haven't seen, it's a pre-market, right? So it's $2 spread right now at the moment. We have to see how that's going to be at the open, right?
If it stays like that, there's no way I'll trade it.
Yeah,
but
it's got to tighten up.
We'll see. There's not much volume on it. That's another thing. It's got 41,000 shares. Hadn't traded a whole lot. This is like a tertiary list, not even secondary. So if this thing starts to wake up, I might keep an eye on it. I'll have it on my list just to see if it does.
And
because, like I said, if this was if some of the days we've had in the last 2 weeks, I'd never even mention this. But like I said, I don't like a whole lot that we got going on this morning.
Yeah. And again, sometimes you have these sleepers, man, that come in and do amazing. We saw it a couple of times this week where we had some stocks that pre-market was horrible, and they could do great things. So we'll definitely see how that turns out later on today. All right, let's look at what we have this morning. So BA, I see a lot of people throwing that out. Let's take a look at BA today. Let's get BA on the list. All right, so BA also very active. Again, kind of very similar to what the airlines are doing right now, right? They're all down quite a bit, so BA is going to follow suit. They're also leaving this area of great support that they have had in the past. A nice change in direction there, here, one more time. So again, they're slightly just barely hanging on by a thread, and they got some room towards the downside. We haven't been down here. Actually, BA looks very good, guys. We haven't been down here in a very nice time. Last time was back in March for about 4 days. That's it. And then we popped up right back to this level of support. So I like BA, guys. BA is good. We'll keep an eye on that one. Thank you for that. M is giving us D-Dog. Is D-Dog still doing anything exciting? So D-Dog had a decent day yesterday. How did it actually trade yesterday? Yeah, so nice big pop here after actually this a wild kind of opening here. You got a couple of nice buying pressure here, these couple of wicks, and then a pop above the VWAP. Today could be the same situation, guys. Had a bad pre-market activity yesterday morning. Same situation today, and it could trade well. But for the most part right now, I'm not seeing anything all that exciting. But we will put it on here. As far as levels, you're covered already, which is nice. So you got all your levels in here already, highs and lows. So even if we don't get a chance to look at it this morning, levels are set for you on that one. So Peter says D-Dog was hard to trade. Yeah, it's not an easy stock to trade. I mean, we saw the great breakout we had 2 days ago.
It was easy to trade. It was easy to trade 2 days ago.
Right,
I think it was a little bit less so yesterday, unless you just happen to catch that perfect bottom. But that's why yesterday I mentioned it might be tough.
Yeah.
As we get away from that, these stocks that don't trade as heavily, D-Dog is in that universe. Once you get away from the catalyst a little bit, the
Yeah.
continuation plays aren't as clean.
Especially after such a big pop like that, right? When you get such a big pop like
Yeah.
that, people want to hold off. Okay, are we going to come back down and start closing this gap? Are we holding? And are we really this strong as the gap was? So there's a lot of indecision there that is taking place, I am sure. All right, let's take a look at RV, LV. We do have. We'll take a closer look at that one as we get closer to our pre-market levels area. So BA is good. What else we have here, guys? D-Dog, okay, that's good. Jerry is giving us WFC. WFC this morning, they are also down nicely today. This was Fargo. Now this one is one that doesn't move as much, a little more difficult to trade when it comes to its banking stocks. The volume is always there. You can see here they're trading on average 45 million shares easily, especially after this drop here. But their daily is looking pretty interesting, Jairus. So I do like this one on here. We'll put it on as a possible. We'll get to it in a second here. All right, what else we have, guys? Let's take a look at YouTube. What do we have in this area? So right now we have quite a bit on here. C. So we got some banking stocks here. Here's Citigroup. Citigroup also down 2.7. Again, a lot of these banking stocks down quite a bit. I like WFC right now better than Citigroup. The next one you had on here was Bank of America. Bank of America also down quite a bit. I think WFC, guys, the one that Jarvis mentioned, it's got the better daily for sure, and it's got a pretty active pre-market activity. So if you're going to watch a banking stock, you want to also have this one on your list. Also, we have INO in both chats being mentioned at the moment. So INO right now, it is up 3.1. This stock, again, another stock that for me personally is extremely difficult to trade, very difficult to read the price action. So again, this looks very clean right now, but when you're actually watching this action live, it is extremely difficult to read the price action. So again, looking at it after the fact, yeah, beautiful engulfing pattern here, nice pop above the VWAP. But the actual way these candles are being made in the 1 minute, the way the price action is, the way that the time in sales is being posted, and also the ask and bid, the bid and ask is not as easy to read for me personally. Today they are very active, guys, 1.4, but that seems just to be the norm for this stock. Around 1.4 is nothing for INO. But the daily,
Don't
guys,
associate my name with that stock.
you're absolutely right. So right now, guys, the daily has had a nice base here at 1050. We're getting away from that now. We're hitting another level of possible resistance on here as well. So again, it could be a possible, guys, but I'm not gonna add it on my list because I know I'm not gonna watch it. I got way too many stuff on this list already. So we'll come after we're done with our list. If we have some time, we'll come back to INO. I'm not gonna remember that. So you know what? I'm gonna put it here. INO. All right, let's go down the list. What do we have here, guys? Allo at the moment, guys. Right now, pre-market activity is not all that great for the most part. What is the float on this, by the way? This looks to have very light volume for the most part. So I'm not seeing anything all that exciting in regards to volume at the moment. Let's look at Upwork. I see a few people throwing that out there. Upwork this morning, they are up 3.4. Again, one of these stay-home companies that are also doing well with this type of situation. If people are going to be extending their stay at home, these companies are going to be doing a lot better. And speaking of that, we'll look at Zoom next. Right now, the volume is pretty light on this one, guys. It did have a nice day yesterday, a nice pop the day before. Could be a sleeper, but I'm not going to add it just yet on my list. The next one is, I want to take a look at Zoom. What are they up to? So Zoom is back up to some previous highs here. Their daily looks interesting as well. Actually, their daily, if they had more volume, we would have kept this one, but their daily, you can see here, just kind of banging their heads against this 170, making higher lows on their way over here. That could be an interesting setup for a possible test of this previous high over at 180. So I'll be looking out for Zoom in our scanners, guys. A turbo breakup, if it hits that, definitely might be worth taking a look at what's happening there. All right, last one. Let's take a look at Roku today. Roku this morning, it is down almost shy of 1%. Volume starting to creep in. Is holding on to this level here of 115. We're basically bouncing off of that. Another one that could be a good possible, but I'm not going to add it as of right now. Now, this stock, as we know, guys, could be very, very explosive. If you have the space, we can take a look at this. So, Norm, let's get over to announcements, and then we'll come back and fine-tune this list a bit.
Yeah, guys, we've been mentioning this for a little bit now, but we're so excited to have our new podcast out. We got new episodes coming out very soon. So on any of your favorite podcast platforms like Spotify, Captivate, iTunes, Overcast, so on, yada, 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 search Talk with Traders, and you will find our brand new Bear Bull Traders podcast. Last week we had Mike's exceptional webinar. I've heard outstanding reviews about it from multiple people texting me last night. I was with my son. I didn't get a chance to attend live, but I can't wait to see the recording. Should be up very soon. I believe the psychology webinar from Tuesday is already up. Mike's Module 3, Importance of Discipline in Trading. Voice just cracked in like a Brady Bunch style kind of thing right there. Sorry about that. Speaking about Mike, he will be joining Peter. Brian might be away for a couple of days, but Mike and Peter will be in the closing show 3:30 to 4:15 p.m. Eastern as we continue to go through some of these earnings season with retail figures coming out and such. It is a good time to have this show. So check that out. Also, if you're watching this on YouTube, haven't been in the chat, you'd like to try it out, use the promo code premarket24 to get a discount off the 1-week trial. It gives you an access to the chat room for 1 calendar week, 5 trading days. You also get, Carlos, did you lose me?
No, I got you, man.
Everything looks like my stuff's frozen up. All right. Well, that's all right. It doesn't matter if you can hear me. So it gives you access to our onboarding class, which is every Monday at 8 p.m. Eastern. Get you set up, kind of give you a tour of BBT and such. And then also, if you're looking to join, you can do so. Use the promo code podcast for a 40% discount off the lifetime single payment option membership.
All right, excellent. Yeah, it looks like I did lose you. So it's funny. Every time I lose you on Skype or we get disconnected, your box turns very small, as you can see there. So that's not me doing that, by the way.
All right.
All right, guys. Maybe we'll have to move to Zoom and try that out instead. All right, folks, let's take a look at what is happening here this morning. We have quite a bit of a list. Let's go through it and see what makes sense to keep and what does not. Let's start over with Delta. So Delta this morning, we have more than that. Here we go. Now we have it. All right, let's go through it. So VTIQ, guys, this one is good, very active. We'll keep an eye on this one. SDC also is good. United, I want to keep one of these airlines. So United, between United, Save, and Delta. Let's see which one has the best action right now. So here's United 1.3. Here's Save. This one has a little bit less, 400. I think Delta might be the one this morning, guys. I think Delta is very active. Their daily also is very nice. They're getting below this area where they had their last previous low. United is not quite there yet. So I think Delta is the one to watch, guys. I'm going to remove United. I'm going to remove Save, and I'm going to keep Delta. But I will be on the lookout for these other ones as well. United, Delta, what's the other one? JetBlue, JBLU. If any of these stocks hit our scanners heavily, we can tune into those because we know they're definitely taking a bit of a hit today. CCL, I think, is the one to watch. We're slightly sitting right on the support area of 11. I want to see what's going to happen there. NCLH is already past that. You can't go wrong with either one of these guys. Either one are great, but I think CCL is a good one today because just we're holding on to this area here. If we lose this, I will hope that people start bailing out of this if they got in here for a possible long term, and hopefully we can get some action out of it. So I'm keeping CCL, taking off NCLH out of this list. Next we have MGM on here. So MGM, I like the pre-market action right now. I like that we're losing some of these levels. I think it's worth watching, guys. The way the daily is setting up here in MGM, and we do have some activity happening right now in the pre-market. Here's Uber and Grubhub. I'm gonna put these down. These are good possibles, right? Again, right now we're just kind of hanging around, waiting to see what kind of news we're going to get out of these two. So I'm gonna bring Uber down here. I'm gonna bring make a little more room here. I'm going to bring Grubhub down here as well. These are good possibles, guys. Once that news breaks out or any kind of announcements about this possible deal, these two are going to be explosive. They're already explosive just with the conversation. As you can see on Grubhub here, this is a good deal for them, obviously, if they can get tied into that. So again, we'll keep an eye on that. Let's remove them from this list here. Remove from here, and then we'll remove Uber from here as well. All right, so next we have a CSCO. This is one that possibly can have a possible play, as Norm mentioned earlier. Right now we do have 410,000 shares traded at the moment. Their daily is very interesting though. They're a little bit choppy in this area. They had a nice day yesterday. Let's see how that actually traded. Let's go back a bit here. That's a beautiful That's a beautiful opening range, and also a nice VWAP reversal. This thing traded very clean. There's a lot of opportunities here, and then the drop, obviously, the sell-off here. So again, cannot judge this one just by is daily right now, because this day yesterday was really good. So I want to keep an eye on that one. Wix is good possible, guys. I'm gonna bring this down. As we mentioned, it's a good one that can take off here, but the spread gotta get a little bit better, and we need a little more volume, as Norm was mentioning earlier. So I'm going to bring this down as a possible today. Their daily though looks amazing, so if their daily can continue to rip the way it's been ripping here, we can have some fun with that. BA, guys, I think BA is probably one of the top stocks this morning. Look at how this is trading. It's got a good pre-market activity. It's down 2.7. We have some room here too, though. As far as levels, look how clean this is, right? Let's do the levels right now for this one, just because we have it up. We have 93.48 right on here. Above that, we do have 106, and then just look how clean this is. If we lose this here, nice clean drop. There's no congestion here as far as daily goes. Again, we lose that. The next level is clearly 106, clearly 93. So that's great here, guys. It's very clean on what's happening this morning if we continue to lose some of these levels. So I like BA, guys. Let's keep it on there. And then towards the top here, cover highs and lows from the last 2 trading days. Here is INO. Again, this is one that I'm not a fan of personally, but let's do some levels for it. Right now, we're going to keep our 1649. Our 1508 is good. Right on here, this 1388. We're going to upgrade this over to 1439, because where the price action is at now, that is basically the high from yesterday right on there. So we probably had that high of the pre-market. That's the high from yesterday. Now that's got you covered. And also you have some pre-market highs and lows down here as well. So that's good there for INO. All right, let's take a look at WFC. Oh yeah, but with that said, guys, I'm moving this one down, by the way. I'm moving INO down here for now. But we do have some good levels on here. Here's WFC. I think out of the banking stocks, there's a lot of moving this morning, but I agree with Jared. I think this is the best looking one so far right now. So I want to watch a banking stock just to see how the SPY in the market is going to affect this sector here. So low of the pre-market sitting at 21.89. You can see we're barely holding on to that level right now. So we're going to keep an eye on that one. Here's D-Dog. I think D-Dog is going to have a tough day, like Peter mentioned today as well. So I'm gonna keep an eye on that one as well, and see what develops there. So I'm gonna bring this down. I want to keep an eye on it, but I don't want to have it on my main list. So let's bring this down over here, D-Dog as well. Again, it could. I don't think we're gonna get as a clean trade as we did 3 days ago. I don't think 2 days ago. I don't think that's going to happen, but anything's possible. This stock is strong, big gap up, and it's holding here. So we'll see what turns out of that. All right, so our main list right now, guys: VTIQ, SDC, Delta, CCL, MGM, CSCO. We have BA and we have WFC. And then in our secondary list, let's remove some of these. We have some low flow stocks here, guys. I'm not going to go through this again. We don't focus on these low flow stocks. So I'm going to remove these from the list, guys. But we do have APDN. We do have CODX. It's very active. But for the most part, it's not anything that we really focus on. RVLV, we have this one also on here as well, guys. Again, another one that's not that all that exciting compared to what we have in our main list. So I'm going to even remove it from our secondary list here. And I think this will be a good secondary list. D-Dog could be a potential. INO is very active. Wix, it could be the sleeper for today. And we have Grubhub and Uber, just kind of sitting around waiting to see what's going to be their deal if any news breaks out. All right, let's look at VTIQ. Let's do some levels here. So right now, let's remove what we have. Highs and lows from the last 2 trading days around the price action at the moment. High of the pre-market, it is sitting at 29.48, so we'll mark that down. Towards the bottom, the low of the pre-market, we had 2 bounces off of this already, 25.75. Look at the 2 bounces right there and there, so that we have that on there. Towards the bottom, we do have the low from yesterday right at 25. And then under that, there's really not a whole lot after that, guys. So that's all you really have in here. So again, some pretty good levels right now. We have to see how this one is going to trade. A couple of big days yesterday. Sorry, the few last couple of days have had some really big days. Yesterday gapped up, but kind of sold off for the most part. Today could be a good continuation depending on how this thing wants to trade. Right now, pre-market action, guys, is looking pretty good. We got some good volume out of this at 13, down 13.5. Here is Smile Direct. So Smile Direct pre-market action right now, it's not looking all that great. Still hasn't got any better. We have the volume, 518, but we're not getting this nice flow here. Not a nice range at the moment. Just kind of sitting slightly above this 705, which is the low of the pre-market. So we'll mark that down. Below that, we do have a nice level here of support at 658. Several days just bouncing off of that, pretty nice. And then above the price action now, you have your highs and lows from the last 2 trading days, while marking even the pre-market high from this morning. This pretty much got you covered with some good levels there. So do not need to add any more small direct, but I am going to move this one down because just the pre-market action is not all that great. I hope somebody in the community watches this one and they can call it out. We can tune into if anything gets better at the open. But right now, just making a decision based on what we have and what we're seeing on these other stocks. Delta is looking great, guys. It has good pre-market action. I want to keep an eye on this. I think these stocks are going to move quite a bit today. Here's 18.49 is the low of the pre-market. Again, we are past that initial low here. So again, I want to see if buyers are going to step in here heavily, or are we going to continue to drop here? So it'll be interesting to see what Delta is going to do today. United is in a similar situation, but they are not past their low, that first initial drop. We do have a level at 20, guys. We had the day after the big drop here, we have a bounce off of 20, so I'm going to mark that down. 20 is also a good whole dollar number you want to keep an eye on, see what the action is going to be around there. But before you get there, you do have the previous day close and pre-market high right on here, so you definitely want to be on the lookout for that. And then above that, some very, very clean levels, guys. I'm going to show you that here. Right here, 21. This is a nice level you have. You also have this one over here, which is the high from 2 days ago. You can see how that support has been so great for Delta, just bouncing around, squeezing up here, coming back down, finding a level at 21, and now we're below that level. So again, things are getting very interesting for these airlines. Some good volume out of Delta. I really like this one this morning. Here is CCL, guys. What I love about CCL is that we're battling right now. Are we going to hold this? What is this level here? We're roughly around 1140. Then below that, you do have a level at 11, exactly 11. So are we going to hold this right now? Right, we did for about 2 weeks or so in April. Almost all of April was basically around this range right here. And today we're testing that possible support area there. If we lose that 1140, that 11, again, we had 2 big red days in this week already. You do have a possibility of 1030 on here, so we'll see. CCL, some good volume right now, 1.4, great pre-market activity, bouncing off the low here at 154 right now. We'll see, are we going to hold that at the open? Above that, guys, you do have your highs and lows from the last 2 trading days. Previous day close got you covered. Do not need to add up any more on there. Here's MGM. So MGM, it's so two really nice red days here, leaving some of these areas of support. We do have a nice new low here over at 1190. Then below that, we do have a nice possible here at 1008, and you do have a minor support here at 11. You can see several days bouncing off of that, opening and closing at that area. So we definitely a place where you want to keep an eye on. But aside from that pre-market action, it's okay. We'll keep it on here. Let's see what we can get out of it. Maybe we'll switch it for another possible towards the bottom, depending on what we get on the rest of these stocks. CSCO, guys, I think this one could be a potential. I'm going to move it down. The reason is right now the pre-market seems to be a little bit choppy, but again, this is typical CSCO, so I'm not sure if their news is going to be enough to move them one way or the other. But I know Norm is going to be keeping an eye on it, so I will have it here on my list. I'm sure he'll call it out if he sees anything that he likes setting up on this one. Low of the pre-market, 42.12 towards the top, guys. Highs and lows got you covered. I don't think you need to add any more. And towards the bottom, you really have your previous day close, low from yesterday after this nice big red day. So let's see what's going to happen today. You pretty much got a level right there around what's that, 41.32, and then below that you got another great area of support at a 40.05. Look at this level here, guys, 40.05. Really nice, really clean right there. See several days just really changing direction. Once you get to that level, has found a pretty nice base here at 1040. Again, I don't think we'll get there in one small swing there. We would need a lot of pressure, selling pressure, to get down towards these levels. All right, last one on this list, WFC. Oh, we looked at WSC, so I think we're covered, guys. VTIQ, Delta, CCL, MGM, BA, and WFC. Let's take a look at what our moderators are watching, guys. So we have here Thor is looking at BA. I think BA is really good, guys. Probably one of the top stocks this morning on our list. Next, he has Cisco off earnings, and that's all he's watching. Yes, so that's all Thor is watching. Thor has a very picky selection and filter for his watch list, which is great. So I love to see him trade. Just watch 2 stocks and do amazing with those. Peter has a BA, AMD, and United, UAL. Let's look at AMD. What's up with AMD this morning? AMD's got some volume going here. All right, good. So AMD's a good possible as well. Yep, excellent. And then secondary, CSCO, Uber, SDC, Microsoft, WFC, JP Morgan. We have not looked at JP Morgan. All those look great for secondary, Peter. We do have a lot of those on there. Yeah, the JP Morgan also pretty good. Between WFC and JP Morgan, you can see some pretty good action here also. Again, just the way the daily's setting up, we're getting near these levels where we had before, where we're losing some of this great support that we've been bouncing off of. So JP Morgan also a good one. Jared is looking at BA, WFC, and the SPY. Norm is watching RVLV, excuse me. RVLV. Let's take a look at that one. We took this one off. Why did we take this one off? I don't remember why we took this one off. All right, you know what? If Norm's watching it, I'm going to...
I got to say that well, there's not a ton I like, so I'm kind of stretching on some of these.
That's all right, man. But I'm gonna throw it on as a possible in case you call something good on it. You know, we can quickly tune into it. Let's do some levels for it, guys, in case there's anybody else watching this one. Also, we have a high of a pre-market 1787. The low of the pre-market sitting at 1598. So let's see what we can get out of this one today. Towards the bottom, which it looks a little bit weak at the moment. Just giving some back this in the pre-market, but again, this stock is still up 10%, so be careful. We do have some levels towards the bottom here we can get to. All right, and then out of that one, you do have also Cisco, CSCO, SDC, BA, BYND, Beyond the Me. We'll look at that next, and DDoc, and possibly Wix. But let's look at BYND and see what's happening in this area. So BYND has been very, very explosive. I mean, just look at it yesterday. And then the day before that also had a beautiful trade. I think there was one day that I missed it. This whole week has been great, actually. Bad pre-market activity, but really good intraday trading. So BYND is definitely one to watch, guys. Definitely add that one to your list. As far as levels, you pretty much got yourself covered. Highs and lows are listed on here. You can mark down the high of the pre-market for the most part, and then the highs and lows from the last 2 trading days are providing you some good support and resistance on there. All right, guys, that is what we have. Let me see if there's anything else that we can cover here. For the most part, that is our list. APDN. We did look at APDN. This is one of the low flows that's very active this morning. Again, if you're in the low flow team and you want to trade this one, you can. Up 70%, 2.4 million shares traded. As far as levels, I don't think levels are going to be that important on this type of stock, and here's the reason why. Every time you get a pop on this, you're selling off. So maybe some pre-market levels here. Let's do just some, but again, just be careful. You have 1818, 1470, 1239, but for the most part, this stock is well known for gapping up and selling right back down. I don't have shares for short, and neither am I interested in shorting a low flow stock anyway. All right, so that is that, guys. Let's see what else. We had Mike is in the room. We had a great presentation from Mike yesterday. Mike, thank you for that. The recording should be up in our website. I mean, just amazing about your trading plan. So if you were there yesterday, thank you for joining us. And it's important, guys, too. I know not all of us can make the time frame, but if you can show up to the live sections, they're really good, because it's just the environment overall. It's a different feel from watching the recording. Nothing wrong with the recording, but if you can make it live, not only are you there to ask questions and feel the environment, but you're also there to support the speaker, which is great. So guys, with that said, have a great trading day. See you guys on tomorrow, Friday, to end the week. So take care, trade safe, and we'll see you then.
Take care, guys. Trade safe.